Hola, señores y señoras. Bienvenida a mi video. Welcome to part 3 of my challenge to beat Hollow Knight with a steering wheel. You can find links to part 1 and part 2 in the description below. Have you ever wondered, is there a way to play my favorite game and learn how to drive all at the same time? Well, if you have, you've come to the right place. In my experience, this is the best way to learn how to drive. Before I get into the video just yet, I'd like to direct your attention to my new friend Camilla, who will be joining us today. Here are some of the rules I set for myself. Rule number 1 is that horizontal movement is controlled by turning the wheel. The second rule is no major glitches. Certain glitches, such as the invincibility glitch, just make the game too easy. And as a masochist, I do not want to not suffer during this challenge. And I'm assuming you want me to suffer too. With all the schadenfreude aside, let us begin the challenge. It's been a while since the last video, so I spent a good minute in Dirtmouth trying to figure out what I need to do next. At some point, I unclog a major neuron in my brain, and that helps me figure out that I need to go and get Crystal Dash. And so I do that, while also collecting random stuff as I go by. Also collecting this beautiful grub. How lovely. I made it past those few sections with the laser crystal tick-tick bug guys, I forgot their name, with surprisingly little struggle. Maybe I'm getting better at driving. Don't pay attention to that. Look at this. Look at this boss fight. You see? Boss fight's action-packed. It's a lot more appealing to the eye. Don't just look at the boss fight, okay? You know, I've always wondered, what's with the name? His name's Crystal Guardian, by the way. Why is it Crystal Guardian? What's it guarding? A bench? Oh, how noble. You're just a bench sitter. Go sit on a bench, loser. And so I conquer him with clearly a lot of health. I'm gonna Photoshop it so that way instead of being like at 2 health, I should stop talking. Yeah, I beat it with a lot of health, clearly. I'm not lying to you, that is not photoshopped, and it's probably very well done because I have very good Photoshop skills. So yeah, anyways, after conquering them with plenty of health to spare, I sit on my bench throne to certify my dominance over this little Crystal Guardian. After my amazing display of heroism, I grab the shopkeeper's key and wander upwards. So I head to the left a little bit and oh. Hey, Quirrell. How you doing? You know, I've been thinking about you and me. You know, maybe we should hang out sometime. I know a great place. You know that hot spring near the edge of Deep Nest? It's very quiet and peaceful. And best of yet, it'd be just the two of us. We'll hang out or something. How's that sound? Alright, see ya. So, I continue wandering, having a close call and a death along the way, before I make it to the small parkour section to get to the Crystal Heart. And it was surprisingly easy. I just got hit once. Oh, and I also made an amazing joke after acquiring this mobility upgrade. It's more like Crystal Heart. Grubby friend! After saving that beautiful grub, I moved on to rescue a grub that was in quite a bit more of a predicament, but I was successful. Shortly after that, I got crushed by a piston, similar to how I crushed that one pedestrian while driving that one time. Well, that's karma for ya. Get it? Car.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Lucky for me, though, karma cannot get the better of me when I'm playing my favorite video game. Upon noticing that I was in possession of a very large amount of geo, it came to me that I should listen to Zote's 40-second precept, spend a geo when you have it. So I returned to Dirtmouth to buy the Lumafly lantern, regretfully forgetting about a grub that needed rescuing. Alright, cha-ching. Now that I have the Lumafly lantern, I can get past the dark room right before Crystal Mound and collect Descending Dark, a massive upgrade to my Desolate dive attack. However, this was not easy. Montage.
What? Screw you. Stupid. What? Freaking finally.
Now that I've upgraded to Descending Dark and rescued that lovely grub, I hop down into Resting Grounds to get the Dream Nail, which is conveniently right next door. I only had 1 health to my name the entire time down there, but since there are 0 frets while getting Dream Nail, it was pretty easy. Yeah, don't look at that. I didn't fall. I'm not stupid. 0 problems. None whatsoever. Trust me. Noticing I still had only 1 health, I ignored it and collected one of the most useless charms in the game, Dream Shield. Then I sat on the bench and collected the Resting Ground Stag Station. After that, I decided to completely rob this guy's giant grave completely, which contained money, a grub, and a Soul Eater charm, whilst listening to Entombed Husk ASMR. Good stuff. Would recommend. I decided to bully a giant Husk sentry before I took an elevator to the right-hand side of City of Tears. I unlocked the King's Stag Station, bullied another great Husk sentry fellow, broke into some random home to rob them of their money, and decided to flee the consequences of my crimes by jumping down a deep pit, in which I was immediately sentenced to death for my crimes. Womp womp. Turns out there are consequences for mass homicide. Lucky for me, I have multiple lives, so I can just hop down and retrieve the stolen money I lost.
Nice.
Then I proceed to invade the dwellings of a small colony of lesser Molochs, and verified their lesser prefix. While doing so, I saved the grub, came uncomfortably close to death, patiently made my recovery, collected a pale ore, and saved cloth. As I was leaving, I walked past the lesser Moloch I avoided on my way in and decided to unalive it. After that, I decided to go ahead and fight the broken vessel. However, everyone knows that the hardest part of the broken vessel fight is the section right before it. I was killed by the Molochs 1, 2, 3 times. After that mess, I finally got to the broken vessel arena. He is a pretty easy boss. The attack where he shoots a bunch of oranges is the perfect time to wham him with the Descending Darks. I beat him, got the Monarch Wings, tried out the Lost Kin fight for fun, died, and saved a grub. I then went to collect the Ancient Basin Stag Station. However, I was a little short on geo.
Come back when you're a little, richer.
I took Morshu's advice and took a pit stop at Lim's shop. However, I noticed I was dying a lot more often, and I didn't really want to lose my Geo more than I already have. So I decided to start a new life in the sewers. Just kidding. I came down to kill stuff. I love killing stuff. The only important thing I did down there was look at the alluring fluke marm. It was so important, my sister came down to see too.
Look what I found. Key, you're being recorded. I'll censor you, don't worry.
Oh yeah, I also fought the poop guy. It was fun. Not as important as Fluke Marm though. Feeling a little ambitious, I went to fight the Watcher Knights. But first I had to nearly die to a great husk sentry. It was all okay though, don't worry. Then I went to fight another great husk sentry. This time I was less okay. Second time around, I was more careful and rescued the grub successfully this time. After that, I went to battle the Watcher Knights. The Watcher Knights are a pretty high difficulty spike in the game, even without a steering wheel. A cool trick to make the fight easier is to go break this breakable wall, or rather ceiling, hop up and cut this rope. It drops a chandelier on a single Watcher Knight, which should make the fight slightly easier, meaning you only have to fight 5 instead of 6. The main gimmick of this fight is you have to fight multiple Watcher Knights at once. A good strat I found is to pogo them, to collect their soul, and then pummel them with a descending dark. Even without the Shaman Stone, this is a pretty viable strategy that works fairly well. However, like most things, much easier said than done. I died quite a lot while fighting these guys. Although it's frustrating, dying a lot, I was able to push forward, because each time I fight them, I get a little closer to winning, and each time, I also get a little bit more practice in. I fought them like 5 more times before my recording software notified me with an error. It had a problem outputting the footage to my thumb drive and decided to corrupt it. Yeah, fun, I know. Long story short, I recovered the footage. After that fiasco, I was able to continue the fight I stopped in the middle of. I got to the last 2 nights, but then I died. Womp womp. After dying like 3 more times, I beat them. I went up the non-OSHA approved elevator and collected the Watcher Dreamer. I probably would have just stopped playing right there, but I wasn't sure if the corrupted footage was going to be recoverable, so I played some more just in case. I wandered my way to the King Station and traveled down to the Queen Station, with the intention of exacting revenge on none other than the Mantis Lords. And my goodness, this fight is so much easier when you have more than 10 frames per second. With a steering wheel and a smooth running computer, and maybe a few minor upgrades to mobility, this fight is a joke. For me at least. and I only took 2 damage, which I guess is something to be proud of. I decided to challenge myself and head straight into Deep Nest. Not only I wanted to challenge myself, but I also had a date with Quirrell at the hot springs, and... Hold up. What? Quirrell? Where'd you go? Where are ya? He didn't show? Ugh, what a jerk. To cope with this uncalled for rejection, I needed to focus my rage on something. Oh, hey, a grub. I needed to focus my rage on something. Nosk. To be honest, Nosk is a pretty challenging fight with a steering wheel. Took me a few tries, but eventually I learned how to best dodge him with a steering wheel and beat him. As a reward, I got to play some volleyball with the mask. Yeah, I also got to pay a lore. Not as important as the volleyball thing. After that, I decided to complete Beast Den. Hello there, kind sir. Could you please step aside so I can get to the distant village? I didn't get too upset over this, because I wasn't paying attention to my geo count. I thought I only lost like 100, 200, 300 geo maybe. Not 1,300. Next time around, I was able to turn on my brain and make it to Distant Village. Also, fun fact. You can skip most of Beast Den if you have Monarch Wings, Mantis Claw, and a Mothwing Cloak. Here's how you do it. And after that, I died. Fun. Got my shade back, made an embarrassment out of the Stalking Devout, and I finished off the Beast Dreamer. Oh yeah, and here's a grub. Anyways, I decided to call it a day and take the Distant Village Stag...
Sorry, Link.
Sorry. I called it a day and took the Distant Village Stag Station back to Dirtmouth. Thank you for watching, you absolute gigachad, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.